All right, we just finished the, sorry, I almost smacked you in the face. We just finished the first trip of the season for Mountain State Overland MSX 37. And we left off our last video where we were gonna show you a detailed walk around of the rig and have everything set up. So,
let's get started.
Yeah, let's get started. All right, so it took us almost a year to build the entire truck, and we just built it together in our driveway on weekends, nights after work.
Yeah. It was a big learning experience for me, and that was really what I hoped it would be. It was definitely challenging at points because I was learning a lot of new knowledge, a lot of new skills, just understanding how kind of the fundamental aspects of the truck are put together, so that when we're on the road, you know, in case something happened to Eric, we had the option for me to be able to step in and take care of things if that needed to happen. But yeah, honestly, it was really fun. It was so engaging to be able to like have this kind of iterative design process at times and figure out kind of what we really wanted the back to look like, or the bed of the truck to look like once we had really kind of installed all of the main components that we needed in order for the truck to function the way that we wanted it to. So yeah, it was really fun to do it together too, you know, and I think one of the things that we recognized when we finally put it all together, it was just, we were so giddy and excited, and just to see it all come together and to see all of our hard work paid off was like chef's kiss. It was awesome.
Yeah, that was a big learning curve, and I think what you don't see on a lot of the footage is us like disagreeing about things or getting on each other's nerves, or like you didn't say it the right way, right? Like, and so we had to work through all of that too, which was a separate kind of challenge. But we'll have this build series forever to look back on this last year that we spent really building our ideal or our perfect Tundra Overland build.
Yeah, it really is a dream rig for us, and we love it.
Mm-hmm. So it's a 2021 Toyota Tundra SR5. It has the 38-gallon gas tank, leather seats, or faux leather seats, but doesn't have anything like a rear locker. It just has the limited slip differential in the rear, which honestly has been really, really great. Mm-hmm. So it's a Crew Max. So it has the full length 2 or 4-door cab, and then it has a 5.5-foot bed in the rear. So working from the bottom to the top, in terms of wheels, we have Method 701s. Those do have bead grip, so as we're airing down and airing up, we just have less of a risk of debeating the tire. And those are wrapped in Toyo Open Country RT Trails. A true 35 by 12.5. We did go with an 18-inch rim so that we can upgrade to a big brake kit in the future, but as of right now, we haven't really had the need to really do that. All right, so the suspension needed to handle both the off-road, the long miles, and the weight of the entire build. So we have Bilstein 8112s in the front. Those have an external reservoir, but they're not adjustable. In the rear, we have a custom Alcan leaf spring kit, or leaf spring pack. That's 1,200 pounds over stock payload with 1 inch of lift. That all manages the weight, and we have the Bilstein 8100s in the back. Those do have adjustable compression and rebound, so we can make it softer, or we can stiffen it up when we're putting down a lot of highway miles. For all of our armor that we're using to protect the truck, we have Victory 4x4 products. The only steel that we have in terms of protection are the sliders from Victory, as well as the mid or transfer case skid plate. The front skid plate, the main engine skid plate, is also aluminum to try and save the weight as well. This is the Victory 4x4 strike bumper. In the bumper, we have a Xeon 12S Platinum worn winch that has a synthetic line. And we did put a little puck light back here so that we can light up the drum. In the bumper, we have some rigid fogs. Those are just to replace and upgrade from the stock fogs that were in the bumper originally. All right, so we're gonna pop the hood here real quick. And it is dirty in here. This electrical panel has a fuse block, and then it also houses the switch pros as well. So the switch pros wires through the firewall and is just on the dash, and it allows us to control all of our accessory lights. Our compressor, our ARB compressor, which is wired back there, is also controlled through the switch pros. But what we really liked about this system is it offers a lot of protection. So there's a breaker here that cuts off between the battery and all of the accessories. And then we also have a fuse block for actually wiring in the camper. So when we added the camper onto the truck, all we had to do was wire it to this safety hub 150, and we were all set. On the passenger side of the truck, we have an ARB snorkel. This was really important because the Tacoma was hydrolocked previously, so we just wanted to make sure that we were protecting this investment and protecting the truck because we want to use it for a really long time and make sure that we can go on a lot of really great adventures. So along the top of the truck, we also have a Victory roof rack. There's just a few things up there. We did wire in these scene lights and offer some really great area lighting when we're getting to camp, especially in the dark. On top is also where we put our max tracks. Those max tracks up top are mounted using GP Factor's mount. That mount is really important because when these max tracks are covered in mud and caked in clay and everything like that, with a lot of other mounts, it's really difficult to get the max tracks into those mounts once they're all kind of gunked up. So because we use our max tracks fairly often, that was really important, is that we could carry dirty max tracks very easily. Up there, we also have a 18-inch amber light bar, as well as our Starlink satellite. That's all mounted up there. This is a Alu-Cab ModCAP Camper. This is for the full size trucks. And we actually went with the 2-sleep option because right now it's just Rachel and I. And while the family camper seems really, really great, we like the kind of setup and the advantages of having the 2-sleep. Camper shell also provides a lot of really great protection from wind and some of the harsher weather that we sometimes find ourselves in. On the very top of the 2-sleeper, we have a 200-watt red arc solar panel. There are a lot of other kind of power solutions that we have, but that solar makes sure that we can keep the batteries charged. We have a shower cube here. The shower cube is actually mounted with the Kaya camper, Alu-Cab Kaya camper brackets, which moves the Alu-Cab shower cube from here, which is where it normally is, to the front. That way we can roll down this window and reach in and grab things, and also keep this window popped open, which is where we put all of our kind of water and hose system, right? So it makes it really easy to grab the or take a shower and use all the shower amenities. On the driver's side of the camper, we have the Alu-Cab 270-degree shadow awning. That is one of our most used pieces on the truck, whether we're pulling off the side for lunch or hanging out at the beach. It just makes it really simple to have a really protected area from the sun, from the water, from the rain, from the snow, and allows us to camp in pretty much any weather. Last thing to talk through on the exterior of the camper is the table slide. The table is actually set up over there. That's where we had our Overlander potluck last night. But always having a full-size aluminum table here ready to access is super convenient. So there's lots of different ways to set up these campers. We opted to put our full-size 35 spare on the rear door so that we wouldn't have to fish it out from underneath, which is the stock or factory spare location. We have a Blue Ridge Overland Gear trash bag. This is their XL trash bag. You can see it's packed full to the gills, and we picked up so much trash on this last trip. Actually filled this thing twice and emptied it. So pick up your trash. We installed some chase lights. So you can see there's 2 amber lights on either side up top. Those come in handy for dusty situations, just making sure everyone's safe. And then we do have an always on rear view camera that is mounted right there in the center below the 3rd brake light. Or as we make our way down on the door, we have our GP Factor propane tank. We have plumbed the propane tank so that there's a quick disconnect here so that this is not hooked up at all times. So when we get to camp, we can just plug it all in, and when we're driving on the road, we don't have to worry. We have a soap dispenser. This is our gravity fed water for the water tank from Alu-Cab. And then we do have a shore power plug-in here so that we can, when we're parked in the driveway, we don't have to just rely on the solar to keep everything charged. We can actually plug this into the house and it'll keep all the batteries topped off. Lastly, we have our Truma heater intake and the exhaust. So the exhaust comes through this hole right here, and the intake is all around, so it sucks in clean air through that. And Rach will show you around the Truma once we get inside. We also installed some auxiliary reverse lights. These do not turn on when we back up. They're very, very strong and powerful, so they're on our switch independently as well. And we also relocated the factory reverse camera to right here using a GP Factor little bracket. That just works with the factory Toyota cameras and allows us to still maintain the use of our rear view camera. All right, enough about the outside. I think Rach is going to give you a tour of the inside of the truck and the inside of the camper.
Yeah, so come along with me. We'll start in the back seat. So one of the first things that we did that we really wanted to prioritize was making sure that the dogs had a lot of space in the back. So we first installed a goose gear seat delete. We just did the 60% seat delete so that we could have kind of a flat base, and then built a custom drawer setup that has a very long, I think 36-inch drawer that pulls all the way out, and we put a ton of stuff in here. So usually we'll put extra chairs, we have our Helinox table, we always have lots of extra towels because the dogs get dirty, and then we'll also pack a bunch of their gear in here as well. We also have a cubby kind of on either side here. So we put some of our recovery gear over here. Sometimes we'll store shoes and stuff. And then back here, we keep all of our tools so that if we need to fix anything on the road, it's really easily accessible. We also have a bunch of Blue Ridge Overland gear packs on the back here. Just carries a lot of different pieces in here. So we have lots of treats and stuff for the dogs and ear and eye protection in case we need it. And then they also made us this really awesome custom canine containment fence that we have on the back of the two front seats, which helps prevent them from jumping into the front seat when we're going over some bumps along the road.
On the doors, we installed some Victory Molly panels, supplemented with some Blue Ridge Overland gear pouches. That's where we keep headlamps, gloves, flashlights, extra multi-tools, etc. And then on the transmission tunnel, we also have more Blue Ridge Overland gear pouches for stickers, and we keep our winch controller in here as well, so it's always plugged in. In terms of communication, we have two options here. One is we have a Midland 575 radio. The base unit is installed under the seat here, and we wired an extension for the plug in this little channel that comes in these Tundras. So when we're not using the radio, we can store this in our center console here, and when we need to use it, we can very easily just plug it in and it sticks to a magnet right there. That's how we manage most of our vehicle-to-vehicle communication. And then for keeping contact with people back home or coordinating between groups, if the group splits up, we have our Garmin Tread, and we do have a separate Garmin InReach. With the Garmin Tread, we don't need to rely on having cell service or Wi-Fi or anything like that. All of our maps are preloaded into the device, so we can very easily route to hospitals or route to different points of interest if we need to. That's really important because on these trips, we're sometimes an hour and a half away from the nearest first responder or the nearest hospital. and we need to be very efficient with how we're navigating to these places on our guided trips. On the left side of our steering wheel, this is where we have our switch pros. So you can see all the different things that we currently power off of this. We have our chase lights in the rear, our auxiliary reverse lights, which were on the back of the camper. We have our roof rack lights, our air compressor, and fogs and light bar. I can also program this so that certain buttons configure to turn on certain lights. So in this case, I do have just an all switch. So when I turn on the all switch, it turns everything except for the compressor and the reverse light on.
Alrighty, so let's take you on the interior of the camper. All right, so on the back of the door, we have our GP Factor cutting table, and this also slides out, which is really great when we are cooking at the fire. We also have a bunch of Blue Ridge Overland gear kits with our cook kit. We have a nice little broom to keep the back of the truck a little bit cleaner. We have headlamps, and we have some additional beanies and stuff up here just to keep us warm. We also put some common meds up here, so like Benadryl, Zyrtec, all that good stuff. I am very allergic to the outdoors, so need all that stuff. We also have Expedition Essentials, paper towel holder, and of course we wouldn't go anywhere without our deeper box. So one of the other things that we also did throughout the interior of the camper was install a ton of insulation. One of the things that we learned with our prior build was without the insulation, things got pretty chilly in the winter and a little hot in the summer. So you'll see kind of throughout the camper, we have a couple different types of insulation, even behind some of the MOLLE panels here. And so we did insulation all throughout, including behind the water tank and underneath the floor as well. Okay, so first things first. When we wanted to build out the back of the truck, we really wanted to prioritize functionality and storage, but also making it feel like pretty homey and cozy. Over here we have, on this side, we have our jet boil, we have some fuel, our cups. It's actually really nice to just kind of keep our toothbrushes over here just so that we can quickly pop out, brush our teeth first thing in the morning or last thing at night. We have a couple pantry items as well, but most importantly, we have our rice cooker, which is fantastic to have on the road. And then up top, some more kind of pantry gear, some of our spices, some extra like poncho gear. We have some Santa Maria. This stuff comes in clutch because this is my favorite seasoning to work with when we're cooking. We have some tea and some Reynolds wrap, basically kind of the miscellaneous junk drawer, if you will. Plus, these are on soft close too. Here we have a couple different important features down here. So we have our Truma heater that was installed so that we could have really high quality heating in the truck. So that vent comes up through here, and then we have the thermostat here as well. We also have a National Luna 60-liter fridge. It's the dual zone. We love it. We used to have a Dometic, but just in terms of the layout here, we needed something that was a little bit closer and a little less wide, just so that we have as much kind of walkway room here as we wanted. Moving around here, we have some additional battery storage back here, as well as behind this piece of wood that we put together. So we have our inverter, we have our battery system, we have our water pump, all back down here. And so it's nice and protected. It also sits flush with the Alu-Cab MOLLE panel that we installed to go over the water tank. We also have the 13-gallon water tank. This is something that we carried over from our previous build because we really loved how the setup was. We also have a ton of stuff that we have loaded onto the MOLLE panel here. So we certainly have our first aid kit, easily accessible in case we need that. We also have kind of our bathroom gear and wipes and stuff for when we don't necessarily want to brave the cold and take a shower outside. We also have our propane hose for the heater so that it connects out here from our propane tank to the connection, and then that funnels in for our Truma. We also have some radio gear, mosquito stuff, and then our campfire kit as well. So on this side of the camper, we wanted to make sure that we had a lot of good space for the dogs to get comfy when we were sleeping in the tent for the night, since they don't sleep upstairs with us. So what we did was we created a couch. I ended up sewing all the cushions and the pillows just to keep it really nice and comfortable for them. And of course, what we wanted to do was, again, build in a lot more storage. So we have underneath here, we actually have a hatch that serves as a lot of extra storage space for kind of miscellaneous items. And then we have this behemoth of a of a drawer where we actually keep our Snow Peak Dutch oven, as well as we have some really nice Hydro Flask plates, bowls, olive oil, knives for cutting up stuff. Yeah, so we have kind of our really fantastic kitchen set up there as well. So as you can see, as you're kind of looking around the camper, we have a bunch of stuff, including some fun things. So for example, one of the things that we really love to do is take Polaroid pictures when we're on camping trips with friends. So we actually keep our Polaroid camera in here. And we now, since we've just moved in, we now have a few pictures of some of our initial camping trips that are really fun. Just nice to have some like good character in the build, you know? We have our Red Arc Red Vision system that powers all of our lights inside. It powers our Starlink. So basically anything that we need powered, it takes care of that. One of the other great things about this is that we can also hook it up to our phone. We can use it on the app. So it just is a very seamless system.
Each door is set up like differently. And this side is the driver's side. So when I'm hopping in and out of the truck, this side becomes like what I need to grab most often. So we have our axe mounted here, we have our ice scraper mounted here, and we have our fire tongs, our really long, kind of like almost 3 foot long fire tongs here. And then some radios for if we need to spot, etc. And then on this side, we have our shovel and then our shower stuff, which is all right here. But this is kind of like the utility side, right? The drawer module and the fridge block most of the usable space on this side. So we do have and carry with us an extension cord so that we can charge off of things if necessary. We have an extra hose if we need to fill up the water tank. And then we have our actual shower hose itself on the side. So this stuff just stays out of the way, kind of tucked behind all of the things on this side. So that's kind of why it ends up being like our utility or our garage compartment.
All right, so let's take you upstairs real quick. Oh goodness. So this is basically the second floor of the Alu-Cab Canopy Camper. So up here, this is where Eric and I sleep. So we also replaced the mattress and got a new mattress for the upstairs because we wanted things to be a little bit more comfortable. So we actually took out the original Alu-Cab foam mattress and used that for the couch downstairs. Okay, we also have really nice sheets, pillows, and a comforter. We have an additional blanket as well. One of the other things that I'll mention too that we did up here, which was a little bit of an upgrade, was that we installed some fairy lights, just for good vibes up here. So now it kind of feels like a little bit of a treehouse whenever I come up here to like read or hang out or just go to bed a little bit earlier. So this is kind of the upstairs hangout.
Let's show you how we set up the Truma and like how we start the heat on a cold night. The first thing that we need to do is hook up the propane hose. That gets hooked up to our quick disconnect here that has a separate switch as well. So we'll turn that switch on. We'll open the gas. In this case, it's already open. And what we're gonna do is just hold that dial. It turns on the unit, and then we can set our temperature like this. And we'll turn it up and see if it'll kick on. So once the temperature is set, the temperature sensor is right above the door, and the heater will kind of regulate its own temperature, turning on and off throughout the night, and maintain as close to that temperature as you can get. Our inverter is installed behind that wood panel at the very front. And when we turn it on the red arc, that turns on this whole electrical panel right here, which is all 110 volt.
Well, thanks so much for watching and for following along on this journey with us as we built our dream rig. It has been so much fun. We love how it turned out. We didn't kill each other.
Yeah, we didn't kill each other.
But no, it's been great.
Yeah. If you're interested in more details about what we did to install or the order of operations, go back and watch some of those old videos, and yeah, follow along with Mountain State Overland, and we'll watch this truck get put to use over the next several years.